It's me again. And we're going to talk about stove systems this time. And I'm actually pretty picky on my stoves. I'm picky on all of my gear, but I'm actually pretty picky on stove systems because I've never seen a stove system compare to Jetboil's. Okay, it is the only stove system I recommend. Now, Jetboil has a lot of different kinds like this. It's going to come down simply to personal preferences. But let me first tell you why I like Jetboil. This is inclusive. This is all-in-one, your cooking set. You might remember from Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or other backpacking, hiking journeys that you've been on where you're bringing a ton of pots and pans, you're bringing the burner, maybe a big bottle of fuel, you're bringing your spork, and everything's separate and it all goes into a little mesh bag. This is your bag. This is it. This is everything you need for a long distance journey, all right? You can pour out the fluids in 2 different ways. Anyways, you got your lid, you got my lighter, I got my French press for coffee in the morning. I haven't seen another stove system make French presses specifically for their stove system. You got the burner that screws on to the fuel. Below that, in here, you would have your fuel, okay? A little canister of Jetboil fuel. I don't have it because I'm out of it, but literally, when I'm done eating, I put in my fuel, I put in my burner, I put in my French press, I put in my lighter, put my lid on top, put my spork right here, right? I don't carry a knife and a fork and a spoon, I carry a spork. Backpacking or long distance journeys in general is about being multi-purpose and be very resourceful. So whenever you can use an item that serves multiple purposes, grab it. Whenever you can compress or minimize the items that you have to pack up every single morning, grab it, okay? So yes, instead of bringing a fork and a knife and a spoon, I have my spork, all right? Some sporks even have serrated edges on their fork that you could use as a knife. I personally have never been in the backcountry or on a journey and have needed a knife for food. So I am totally just fine with my fork and spoon setup. Now, you might say, where's the bowl? Where's the cup? This is it, all right? So after you boil your water, you cook whatever you're gonna cook in here, that's your bowl. This is your plate. You don't need to bring multiple bowls and plates. This is it, all right? If you wanna drink coffee or hot chocolate or tea at the same time, boom, you got your cup. Personally, I don't know if Jetboil intended this to be a cup. I think they intended it to protect the burner part, but I use it as a cup, right? So I don't need to carry a coffee cup. I have a lot of friends who carry their stove system and then they dangle a coffee cup off their pack. Well, I don't have to worry about that because I have my cup right here. So I only recommend Jetboil. Now, MSR has something that's recently been put out that is similar to this, where it's an all-in-one system. MSR, I forget what they've called it, and I've heard nothing but great things about it. I've never used it, so I really can't give it my thumbs up, but I know that they do have something that they just put out that's very similar to this, and I hear good things. It's not as compact as this, though. It's a little larger. Pocket Rocket, the Whisper Lights, all of that, they're great stove systems. I'm not saying they're bad stove systems. I'm just saying they're not all in one. You can buy a Pocket Rocket and you can buy a Whisper Light, but you're also then gonna have to go buy the pot that sits on top of it, okay? You're also gonna have to bring a coffee cup if you want a cup and your bowl at the same time. It's not gonna all fit inside of this, and you'll have to buy things separately. This is all in one. So I recommend Jetboil. There are some versions that have a heat indicator, right? So on here you would have like a heat indicator, and it glows orange, and the brighter the orange and the higher the orange goes, the hotter it is. Which, you know, I actually really enjoyed on my last Jetboil, because you don't need boiling water for coffee, and you don't need boiling water for oatmeal. You'll want it for pasta, but you know, I could watch my heat indicator and I could know, okay, it's hot enough for coffee, or that's hot enough for my oatmeal. So some even have a heat indicator. Some have okay, this is my gas regulator. I turn this more if I want more fuel or not. Some have a little button, an igniter, that ignites the flame for you. I've never had a Jetboil that that the igniter lasted a long time. They seem to be pretty prone to issues. So I always just carry my lighter, and I screw on the canister, you know, turn the fuel regulator, light it, and then put the Jetboil right on. But some versions do offer the heat indicator. Some of them offer the igniter switch. Please carry a lighter in addition to that. And actually this is my one beef, this is my one issue with this style. So this a fuel regulator is pretty flush with the side. Well, if I'm not paying attention to my water boiling and the water is now boiling over, I have to put my fingers in the line of fire, okay, in the line of boiling water. There are some Jetboils where this extends about a foot or an inch and a half. So if you are not paying attention and your water boils over, you can just turn the fuel regulator right here. So my beef with this style specifically, which is the Zip, Jetboil Zip, is the fact that this regulator is flush, and I find that to be a hazard. So if I were to tell you to go buy a Jetboil, which I do recommend Jetboil over every other stove, I would say look for the one that has the metal fuel regulator, and that way when you're not paying attention someday, because it will happen, you can just turn off the fuel way out here. This is a 0.8 liter. It holds 0.8 liters. I love that. The other ones, some of them, they have that carries a full liter. That 0.2 actually makes a difference. I feel the 1 liter Jetboil is kind of too big. All right. Granted, this is a very compressed system and it's very compact, and I absolutely love it. So I'm being a little picky here on saying that the 1 liter is a little too big. But if you compare it to the 0.8 liter, I actually think the 0.8 liter is the perfect size for a stove. I just think that if you wanted to make this a perfect system, extend the fuel regulator out. And the 1 liter one offers that. Okay, so when you're going stove shopping, online or in person, look for a stove that is your all-in-one system. It's your cup. Right? It's your cup. It's your bowl. Everything fits inside, including the fuel. You can attach a spork to it, because every single person that's ever been on a long distance journey knows that they've cooked a meal, or they're starving and they're about to cook a meal and they can't find their eating utensils. It's so annoying. So the spork attaches to it. Like, this is just a really simple system. And there are a lot of good stove systems out there, and MSR has made one similar, and try it if you want, but Jetboil to me is, it's always been my go-to. It's kind of like the Blue Kazoo. I'm gonna have to find one better before I go replace this. This was $85. I would say that's very normal. If you go to your retailer and pick up a Jetboil, you're looking at, I would say, $74 to $109. And that's probably pretty consistent when you online shop it too. And yes, if you're on a backpacking or a bike packing journey with me, I ask that you bring your stove, or I'll provide it for you, because I have been on so many journeys in groups and we have a group stove. And guess what? Everybody walks away and nobody knows how to cook food on the stove, right? Because one person chooses that they're gonna do it, or the leaders do it and the guides do it, and then all of a sudden you have 7 people leaving a journey still not knowing how to cook food in the backcountry. And that's not the point of BHB. The point of BHB is that we all learn the sport of backpacking and we all learn the sport of bike packing, and we do it incredibly well. So I do ask that you bring a stove, and if you don't have your own, I'll provide one for you. So cheers and happy stove shopping.